Hi seniors, this is a short tutorial to show you how you can use the library resources to help you with your Invisible Man research paper. So we are going to begin from the library website here, and you can see there's a link on the home page to the LibGuide I created for this assignment. So just click on that and that'll take you to the LibGuide here. I've organized these pages following sort of a process that I'm going to walk you through, but feel free to click on any of these as you want. Now I know that for finding an issue, many of you guys have already looked for an issue through the topic exploration articles that were sent to you by your teacher. I'm going to be basing mine on this article right here. Louisiana school made headlines for sending black kids to elite colleges. Here's the reality, which was a story largely about how a school falsified many of these students' applications in order to get them into elite colleges, which got them a lot of fundraising and donors interested in their school, which benefited them. And so what I did is, the first thing I did is made a copy of that article so that I could start to highlight keywords that might be helpful in my research. And so you can see I'm kind of reading through these and writing down, highlighting keywords that are going to be helpful for me, either because they resonate with the issue that I'm interested in exploring, or I see some parallel to Invisible Man. And so what I did is I put those keywords in a table. On the left-hand side, you'll see these are all the keywords from the article. And on the right-hand side are the connections I was able to make to Invisible Man, and thinking about specific characters or specific scenes or chapters, even quotes that I might have remembered from my reading. And so this is going to help me just in terms of my research and looking for articles. So first thing I'm going to do is kind of explore more about this story. And so that's why I think the databases are going to be helpful to help you do this. And it's important to look at a number of different databases, because databases have different magazines and newspapers in them, so you're going to get different information. And so let me just show you what that looks like. So if you go to EBSCO, for example, and sign in with the number that your teacher was given, I'm going to want to select the databases that are going to help me find articles on this topic. So always select these two. These are the biggest databases in the collection that EBSCO has. And then I would scroll down and look at anything that has newspapers in it for additional newspaper articles, and then hit continue. And so if I put in T.M. Landry, for example, the name of the school, you'll see that I get 5 articles, and these might be helpful. But if I go to a different database, ProQuest here, and click on this, you don't need a password for this if you're using it on campus, because it's tied to our the LA Eagles, the LA student Wi-Fi. And I do the same thing. You can see that I have a lot more results. And that might be because my search term is pretty generic right now. But you can see that I got a lot more results, and I want to start to filter these down. And so first thing I'm going to do is I want the articles with the full text here. So that's going to bring this down a little. If I just want to look at other newspaper articles, or I can look at maybe newspapers and magazines, all I have to do is click magazines and newspapers here and apply that. And that's going to bring down the results a little bit more. And then I can start to scroll through these and see which ones might be relevant and helpful for me. And so I can read the full text. If I want to get the citation, I just click here and get the MLA citation, which you'll see down here, and copy and paste that into my bibliography. If I want to save this into my drive, I could just save this to my Google Drive right here. And that'll put the article in my drive where I can highlight it. And you can see that my search term here has been highlighted in the article. So if I want to go back, for example, and put in Team Laundry Diversity Elite Colleges and make this more specific, you'll see that affects my results. I now go down to 12. But I'm getting articles that are much more specific to what I want. And so that's a way to kind of get at that kind of information right there. Another thing I would recommend doing is maybe looking at how this issue plays out in some of these issue-focused databases. So if I go to opposing viewpoints and context, for example, and I don't know if I'd put in TM Landry, but I would put in the issue that this raises, which is really about sort of diversity in education. I could do that, or I could do diversity in Ivy League colleges. And what you'll see is I have a lot of information on that particular topic that goes into maybe more depth. And so I could look at the viewpoints, and this is where I'll get sort of pro, con articles about that. I could look at the academic journals and look at something a little bit more in depth that has been studied by an academic. I can also use their filter over here to look at specific subjects within this. So if I just want to look at college admissions, for example, I can narrow this down a little bit further. I can look at Ivy League, I can look at affirmative action. This also gives me different ways to kind of think about this issue in broader or narrower terms right here. So this can also help if I do that. Now let's look at how the databases can help us find information on the Invisible Man portion of our paper. So remember, I have in my notes, and I've done all my research on this story in particular about TM Landry College Preparatory School, and I've looked at the issue in general about the sort of diversity in Ivy League or elite colleges. Now I want to think about how do I relate this to Invisible Man? And so I can start to search by particular characters that I feel connect to this issue, or stories, or even specific quotes if I want to get that detailed. And so what I'm going to do is go back to Invisible Man Research and go to the Resources for Ellison tab and start to look at some of these academic journals for articles that might talk about this particular character in the novel. So I'm going to log into JSTOR here, and I'm going to search JSTOR by saying Invisible Man. Let's put in Ellison's name, and then let's put in Bledsoe as a character. And start to look at some of the articles here. And so these are usually sorted by relevance, and I can start to look through these articles to see which might be helpful for me. So if I pick this one, for example, and I don't want to read this whole article because it's long and lengthy and very academic, but I do want to see where it talks about Dr. Bledsoe. And so a way that I can search the article is to download it, and then search it. Just a Control F search for Bledsoe will show me all the places where Bledsoe is mentioned in this particular article. And if I keep sort of scrolling through, I can find this sort of interesting quote here, for example, that might be useful for my discussion, where it talks about Dr. Bledsoe is a paradox, both a comic and tragic figure. He nevertheless understands power and has succeeded in making himself of more importance in the world than most Southern white men. This status he has achieved through manipulation and deception. And so that seems very sort of in line with this article on TM Landry. And I can use the quotes that they have here, which they give me page numbers, which is nice of them, as well as I can use some of this commentary. Remember, whatever I use from this article, though, I have to cite the article. Even if I'm just using quotes that they have sort of led me to, I need to credit the author for this particular article in my bibliography so that I can give credit where credit is due. And that's really easy to do in JSTOR, as in all databases, is you just go to the citation and you copy and paste that, and just so you can let your teacher know you read this academic article. And there are other articles here, so same thing with ProQuest. You can look here for different articles that might be helpful for you. Here are some that I've gathered from a page, but you could also do the same search, Ellison, Bledsoe, and look through the article here. Okay, I hope that's helpful. If you don't use a database and you find something off the web, this citations page gives you some options for creating your citations quickly and cheaply. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. I am happy to help you find whatever articles you need. Thanks. Bye.